Picture yourself in this scenario. You're going about your day when suddenly someone launches a verbal attack. They belittle your accomplishments, ridicule your goals, or attack your character without warning. What's your instinct? For most individuals, the reaction is immediate defensiveness, anger, justification. They surrender their composure instantly. Their emotions spiral out of control within seconds. They give away their power without even realizing it. But there exists a different path, a method practiced by history's most formidable minds, a psychological framework that makes you completely immune to external provocations. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, mastered this art 2,000 years ago. While ruling an empire facing betrayal, warfare, and constant criticism, he remained unshakable. His secret: the principles you're about to learn. Here's a truth that transforms everything. Others possess zero inherent power over your mental state. Their words are merely vibrations in the air, sound waves that mean absolutely nothing until you assign them meaning. The only way those sounds gain power is through your response to them. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." Read that again. The harm isn't in what they say. The harm is in what you do with what they say. When you master your reactions, you master your reality. When you control your internal state, external chaos becomes irrelevant. True strength isn't found in explosive responses or elaborate defenses. Real power lives in the space where nothing external can shake your foundation. This isn't passivity, it's absolute control. It's the difference between a tree that snaps in the storm and a tree that bends but never breaks. Most people confuse reaction with strength. They think if they don't fight back immediately, they're weak. But the opposite is true. The person who can absorb an attack and choose their response is far more dangerous than the person who explodes on command like a trained dog. Before we continue, affirm this: my peace is my fortress. The unprepared mind suffers shock when encountering hostility. The prepared mind sees it coming and remains unmoved. Most individuals navigate life expecting fairness and respect. They believe in some unwritten social contract where everyone plays nice. When confronted with the opposite, they crumble. Why? Because they weren't mentally equipped for reality. They built their entire worldview on a fantasy. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." That's not pessimism. That's preparation. That's wisdom. Smart operators understand that challenges, disrespect, and antagonism are constants, not exceptions. When you build your mental foundation expecting storms, no storm catches you off guard. You're not hoping for clear skies. You're equipped for any weather. Consider a trained soldier entering hostile territory. They don't hope for peace, they prepare for conflict. They've run scenarios in their mind 1,000 times. When danger appears, there's no panic, no shock, just execution. This preparation doesn't make them paranoid, it makes them ready. It makes them effective. It keeps them alive. The same principle applies to psychological warfare. When someone disrespects you and you've already anticipated this possibility, you don't experience that gut punch feeling. You don't feel betrayed or hurt. You simply think, there it is, just as I expected, and you move forward without breaking stride. Here's what most people don't understand. Expecting the worst doesn't mean living in fear. It means removing the element of surprise. It means maintaining your composure regardless of what comes your way. Surprise is what breaks people. Preparation is what makes them unbreakable. Apply this mindset. Expect that not everyone wishes you well. Expect that some will test your boundaries. Expect that jealousy, pettiness, and sabotage exist in the world. When expectation meets reality, you remain steady while others panic. This doesn't make you cynical. It makes you realistic. It makes you dangerous in the best way possible, someone who cannot be caught off guard. Affirmation: I expect challenges and remain unmoved. Your quietness holds more force than any verbal counterattack you could manufacture. When someone provokes you, they're fishing for a specific outcome, your emotional reaction. Your anger validates their attempt. Your defense confirms they've affected you. Your elaborate comeback shows they got under your skin. But your silence? Your silence dismantles their entire strategy and leaves them powerless. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When they're loud, you're quiet. When they're chaotic, you're calm. When they're desperate for your reaction, you give them nothing." Consider what happens in a void. When someone throws an insult expecting impact and receives only silence, they're forced to confront their own reflection. The silence becomes a mirror showing them their own pettiness. Doubt creeps in. Did I miscalculate? Are they stronger than I assumed? What are they planning? Why aren't they reacting? This uncertainty creates psychological leverage. Mystery generates intimidation. Intimidation commands respect. Think about the most intimidating people you've encountered. Chances are they weren't the loudest people in the room. They were the quiet ones. The ones whose silence made you wonder what they were thinking. But understand the critical distinction: wounded silence versus chosen silence. The former broadcasts vulnerability. It's the silence of someone who's hurt and speechless. The latter communicates dominance. It's the silence of someone who could respond but chooses not to because you're not worth the energy. Wounded silence says, "You've destroyed me and I don't know what to say." Chosen silence says, "You're beneath my concern." Can you see the massive difference? One makes you appear weak. The other makes you appear untouchable. Here's how to develop this power. Train yourself gradually. Next provocation, pause 5 seconds before responding. Feel that impulse to react immediately, then consciously override it. Next time, extend that pause to 10 seconds, then 20. Eventually, try staying silent altogether. Watch what happens. Watch how they react. Watch how uncomfortable they become. Watch how they start filling the silence with more words, more explanations, essentially arguing with themselves. Watch how your silence kills their ego more effectively than any insult ever could. The master of silence makes others doubt themselves without saying a word. That's true power. Affirmation: my silence is my statement. Emotion itself isn't weakness. Uncontrolled emotional display is. When provoked, you'll experience internal reactions that's human. That's biology. Your pulse quickens. Heat rises in your chest. Your jaw clenches. Thoughts race. Adrenaline floods your system. These physiological responses are normal and unavoidable. You're not a robot. You're a human being with a nervous system designed to respond to threats. But here's where the separation happens between the strong and the weak. The critical distinction separates two types of people: those who let feelings dictate actions, and those who acknowledge feelings while choosing responses. The amateur feels anger and immediately expresses it. The master feels anger and decides whether expressing it serves any strategic purpose. Marcus Aurelius faced this constantly. Senators betrayed him. Generals disappointed him. His own son was incompetent and cruel. Yet he remained composed in public, making decisions from reason rather than emotion. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Think about that. The power to revoke your pain at any moment. Not by suppressing the emotion, but by changing your relationship to it. Internal experience versus external presentation. Master this gap, and you master life itself. When someone attacks and you feel anger surging, that's data. It tells you something triggered your boundaries. It tells you this person may be a threat to your interests. But that data doesn't command your next move. You remain the decision maker, not your emotions. Your emotions are advisors, not dictators. Here's a practical technique that works. When strong feelings arise, imagine observing the situation from outside your body. Literally picture yourself floating above the scene, watching yourself interact with this person. What would you advise someone else in this position? What would the wisest, strongest version of yourself do? This mental shift from participant to observer creates the space needed for strategic response rather than reactive outburst. It gives you that crucial 3-second gap where choice lives. Another technique, label your emotions silently. When you feel anger rising, think to yourself, I'm noticing anger right now. Interesting, I'm experiencing the physiological symptoms of anger. This simple act of labeling creates distance between you and the emotion. You're not angry, you're experiencing anger. See the difference? One owns you. The other is just something you're observing. Remember this always. Emotions provide information. They don't issue orders. They're like a dashboard warning light in your car. The light tells you something needs attention, but it doesn't take control of the steering wheel. You still decide where the car goes. Show calmness even when you're burning inside. That's real dominance. That's real power. That's what separates leaders from followers, masters from amateurs. Affirmation: I master myself completely. Or you might just laugh and say nothing at all. You're not engaging with their attempt to put you in a defensive position. You're showing that their opinion doesn't warrant a serious response. When you refuse to defend yourself against every petty attack, you appear stronger. When you control the frame of every interaction, you become the dominant force in the conversation. This doesn't mean you never stand up for yourself. It means you choose when and how to respond based on what serves your interests, not based on your emotional reactions. Affirmation: I dictate terms, not others. This principle challenges conventional thinking. Disconnect from all external opinions, both negative and positive. Most people only worry about handling criticism. They miss the trap. Dependency on praise creates equal vulnerability. If you need compliments to feel valuable, you'll also fear criticism. Both become chains binding you to others' perceptions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. The liberated individual stands on internal foundations, personal values, self-discipline, internal metrics. External feedback becomes useful data, not emotional currency. Ask yourself, does this feedback contain actionable improvement information? Then consider it. Does this praise accurately reflect my work? Then acknowledge it. But neither should govern your emotional state or self-perception. Here's a powerful exercise. Spend 1 week avoiding validation seeking. Don't fish for compliments. Don't ask if people approved of your work. Don't check engagement metrics on your content. Notice how this shifts your mental energy. Notice the freedom when you stop seeking constant approval. Affirmation: I define my worth. Your brain learns through reward and consequence. Use this mechanism deliberately. Every instance where you maintain composure under provocation deserves positive reinforcement. Every time you react emotionally when you could have remained controlled deserves corrective discipline. This isn't self-punishment, it's strategic conditioning. Practical implementation: successfully stayed calm during a confrontation. Reward yourself with something enjoyable. Lost control when you could have maintained it. Impose a disciplined consequence: extra workout, elimination of leisure activity, challenging task completion. Over time, your subconscious associates composure with pleasure and emotional reaction with discomfort. This makes self-control automatic rather than forced. Most rely solely on willpower, which depletes. Smart operators build systems that make strength the default setting. The goal: reaching a state where composure feels natural and reaction feels foreign. Affirmation: I condition excellence. People expect retaliation or defense when they attack. Give them neither. Give them nothing. Authentic indifference devastates manipulators more effectively than any counterattack. When you respond with anger, you confirm their power over your emotions. When you respond with genuine unconcern, you reveal they possess no power whatsoever. Consider someone truly indifferent to social opinion. How do others react? Usually with respect or desperate attempts to gain attention. That's the force of real indifference. Critical distinction: authentic versus performed indifference. People detect the difference instinctively. Indifference appears as effort. Authentic indifference appears as natural strength. Develop genuine indifference by focusing on what actually matters: your objectives, meaningful relationships, personal growth. When your mental investment flows towards significant pursuits, petty provocations become irrelevant background noise. Affirmation: small voices fade beneath my focus. Every provocation carries energy. The question is whether you'll waste it or weaponize it. Most people burn that energy through anger, worry, and pointless arguments. They exhaust themselves fighting insignificant battles with insignificant people. They spend hours replaying the insult in their mind, crafting perfect comebacks they'll never deliver, telling everyone who'll listen about how they were wronged. What a waste. What a tragic waste of potential. Strategic individuals channel that energy into building strength, developing skills, advancing goals. They use insults as rocket fuel for their ambitions. Marcus Aurelius understood this principle deeply. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle becomes the path forward. Every attack becomes ammunition. Someone doubts your potential. Let that fuel your work ethic. Use it. Every time you want to quit, remember their doubting face. Let it push you through one more hour of work. One more repetition, one more attempt. Someone mocks your appearance? Channel that into physical transformation. Join the gym with their insult ringing in your ears. Let every workout become revenge in progress. Not for them, they don't matter. For you, for proving to yourself that you can transform. Someone questions your intelligence? Let that drive relentless learning. Read the books they'll never read. Develop the skills they'll never develop. Become so undeniably competent that their old assessment becomes laughable. Every attack reveals two things. First, the attacker's insecurity. People who are secure don't tear others down. Second, your perceived vulnerabilities. They're showing you what they think might hurt you. Use both insights strategically. They believe your weakness is X. Make X your undeniable strength. If they mock your speaking skills, become an exceptional speaker. If they question your work ethic, become known for relentless dedication. If they attack your appearance, transform your physical presence. Turn their weapon into your armor. This is the difference between victims and victors. Victims allow attacks to weaken them. They internalize the criticism, believe it, let it limit them. Victors transform attacks into rocket fuel. They use every negative comment as motivation to rise higher. Think about the most successful people you know. Ask them about their journey. Almost always you'll find that someone doubted them early on. Someone told them they couldn't do it. Someone mocked their dreams. And they used that as fuel to prove them wrong. Muhammad Ali was told he talked too much. He used that criticism to become the most famous athlete on earth. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. She used that rejection to become one of the best-selling authors in history. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He used that humiliation to become the greatest basketball player ever. The pattern is clear. The attack doesn't destroy you. It reveals what you're made of. Next time someone criticizes you, don't defend. Don't argue. Don't waste energy on them. Instead, ask yourself, how does this motivate improvement? What can I transform because of this? Turn critics into accidental coaches. Transform attacks into inspiration. Use their doubt as your fuel. Affirmation. Opposition makes me stronger. When wronged, most people see two options: forgive or retaliate. Strategic minds recognize a third path: calculated response. Revenge isn't an obligation. You don't need to fight every battle to prove strength. Sometimes response serves your interests, protecting reputation, establishing boundaries, sending necessary messages. In those cases, act strategically when advantage exists. More often, revenge costs more than it returns. It drains time, energy, and focus from building your success. The powerful individual chooses when to care and when to dismiss. They don't let emotions make these decisions. Make this calculation systematically. Will pursuing this benefit me concretely? Will it advance my goals? Protect something important? Establish necessary boundaries. If yes, plan strategically. If no, release completely. This isn't weakness, it's strategic resource allocation. Don't let others dictate how you spend limited time and energy. Pride is expensive. Pride makes you predictable. Pride makes you controllable. Calculation makes you powerful. Affirmation: I choose my battles wisely. People can only disturb you when they identify something you value enough to sacrifice your peace defending. When truly detached, when nothing external controls your inner peace, you become invulnerable. This doesn't mean caring about nothing. It means not allowing your caring to create vulnerability to manipulation. You can love without letting threats control your decisions. You can take pride in work without letting criticism destroy confidence. You can pursue success without letting setbacks devastate your spirit. Detachment means holding preferences, not dependencies. You want things without needing them for basic self-worth and peace. When nothing external controls your peace, others lose power over you. When they can't manipulate emotions, they can't manipulate behavior. Consider the most composed person you know. What makes them that way? Likely not that they care about nothing, rather, they don't let caring make them desperate, needy, or controllable. Practice holding things lightly. Celebrate successes without clinging. Learn from failures without being devastated. Value relationships without desperately seeking approval. The goal: full engagement with life without dependency on any particular outcome for happiness. Affirmation: I am complete within myself. These 10 principles aren't theoretical, they're practical tools for transformation starting today, starting right now, in the next interaction you have. You now possess something most never acquire, the framework for becoming truly unshakable. Not because you're cold or emotionless, but because you've mastered the art of choosing your responses rather than being controlled by your reactions. Marcus Aurelius spent his life refining these principles while leading the most powerful empire on earth. He faced conspiracies, betrayals, wars, plagues, and personal tragedies. Yet he remained the steady hand guiding Rome through its darkest hours. Not because he was superhuman, but because he practiced these principles daily. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the essence of everything we've discussed. The world will throw chaos at you. People will try to provoke you. Circumstances will test you. But your mind, your reactions, your choices, your internal state, that's your domain. That's your empire. And nobody can conquer it unless you let them. When provoked tomorrow, you'll remember powerful silence. Instead of that immediate reaction, you'll pause. You'll feel the urge to respond, and you'll choose not to. You'll watch their discomfort grow as your silence speaks louder than words ever could. When criticized next week, you'll employ detachment. You'll hear their words, evaluate if there's useful feedback, and then release any emotional attachment to their opinion. You won't need their approval to feel valuable. You won't fear their disapproval because it doesn't define you. When someone attempts dragging you into their drama next month, you'll activate invulnerability. You'll recognize the manipulation attempt. You'll see them trying to find that button that makes you react. And you'll smile internally because that button doesn't exist anymore. You removed it. You've become untouchable. But here's the thing, and this is crucial: knowledge without application accomplishes nothing. These principles only work when implemented. They only change your life if you change your behavior. You can't just intellectually understand them. You have to live them. You have to practice them. You have to fail at them, learn from those failures, and try again. Start with one principle, just one. Don't try to master all 10 simultaneously. That's a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Choose whichever resonated with you most strongly. Maybe it's the silence principle because you always react too quickly. Maybe it's the detachment principle because you care too much about others' opinions. Maybe it's converting antagonism into fuel because you've been letting criticism defeat you. Pick that one principle. Practice it exclusively for 1 week. Every single day, look for opportunities to apply it. When those opportunities arise, and they will execute, feel yourself getting better at it. Notice the changes in how people respond to you. Notice the changes in how you feel about yourself. Master that one principle first, then add another, then another. Layer them like armor until you've built an unbreakable psychological defense system. Eventually, and this won't happen overnight, but it will happen, you'll become the person everyone wonders about. The one who stays composed when everyone else loses control. The one who seems immune to the chaos that destroys others. The one who moves through life with an unshakable confidence that makes others either respect you or fear you, but never dismiss you. You'll walk into rooms differently. You'll handle conflicts differently. You'll make decisions differently. People will notice something has changed about you, but they won't be able to identify exactly what. That's the mark of true internal transformation. It radiates outward without announcement. You'll be unshakable, not because nothing bothers you, but because you've mastered the art of not letting what bothers you control you. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said as he ruled an empire, led armies, and faced more pressure than most people can imagine. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. The power was always within you. These principles just showed you how to access it. Final affirmation. I am composed, centered, and unshakable. The reactive crumble under pressure. The strategic respond with calculation. The masters simply exist in unbreakable equilibrium, undisturbed by the storms raging around them. Which will you choose? More importantly, what will you do about that choice in the next 24 hours? Because that's where transformation begins, not in grand declarations, but in small daily choices to apply what you've learned. Your journey to becoming unshakable starts now, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Now, with the very next person who tries to provoke you, with the very next criticism that comes your way, with the very next challenge that tests your composure. Will you react like you always have? Or will you respond like the master you're becoming? The choice, as always, is yours.